Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
And this.
You already know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are on our Facebook page, go ahead and hit that like button as well. If you are on YouTube, please go ahead and hit that red subscribe button, and as well, go ahead and hit that notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future. And as well, if you are on Twitter, you can check us out on Periscope at X Talking Ish. And as well, you can check us out on my personal page at X underscore Williams 81. All righty then. Y'all know what we are here for. It is another beautiful Sunday morning for us to break down these matchups here in week 14 of the NFL season. 5 more weeks. Five. Wait, my bad. Technically, yes, including this week. 5 more weeks left into the NFL season. Week 18, of course, that is the last week of the NFL season, and we are pretty much there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, before we get into the games, because I have a gripe. I want to say something before we start this show, and even before I even ask my boy Ish how he's doing today. What is up with these bye week with all these teams? You got 6 teams on bye. It is week 14. It is too late in the season to be having this many teams on bye. I understand one or two teams. I understand maybe even 3 or 4. But 6 teams at week 14. Now don't get me wrong, most of these teams, if we're being completely honest, all 6 of these teams probably not gonna make the playoffs. Maybe the Commanders. Maybe. But all 6 of these teams might be at an early vacation to get ready to go ahead and get ready for 1 through 3 Cancun. Um, maybe
One, two,
maybe the
three,
Packers
Cancun.
maybe the Packers might have looked at the schedule early in the season and said, hey, maybe we can utilize that week 14 bye to make a push into the postseason. Ain't gonna happen. So that being said, I just wanted to shine a little light on that, how a little frustrated I am with that. Other than that, my friend Ishmael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm ready for the season to just go ahead, wind down. Let's get to these playoff games because while there are some exciting divisional matchups going into the last couple of weeks that are gonna decide some playoff positions and some divisions at the same time, really a lot of it is bad teams playing good teams. So as long as people handle their business, then it shouldn't be too exciting in most of the games. But then again, that's why we play the game, right?
Yes, sir. You took the words out of my mouth. I will say the way you started out that statement, I thought you were going a little Odell on us. I didn't think you needed the regular season. I just felt like you wanted to just jump right into the postseason because that's where you shine. So I
Yeah,
thought
man.
I thought that's where you was going with that. But I respect you for actually caring about the regular season because let's be real, this is probably the only sport in all of major sports that regular season actually does matter. And every game in the regular season actually kind of does matter because there's so few games in the NFL season. Um, so let's go ahead and get right into it. The first game on the slate, we have the Jets versus the Bills. The Bills open up as a 10-point favorite at home ish. The Jets played the Bills earlier in the season. Their first matchup, the Jets were able to pull off the win, and some people might have felt as though that was an upset win at the time. Which, looking back on it, yes, it probably was. It is a divisional matchup. This is their second time facing against one another. Can the Jets pull off the unthinkable before the season started, and that's sweeping the Bills in the regular season? It's a possibility, but can it happen? I think Ish is having a little
Um,
technical difficulty.
no.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was having technical. Goodness gracious.
Okay, you good now?
You got me now?
Yeah, we're good.
I'm back. Nope. Uh, I thought I was, but gonna be a sweep.
Okay, all right. Ish is having a little technical difficulties with this at the moment, but he's fine. Look like he's back on track now. Ish, like he was saying before he kind of got a little interrupted, it's not going to be a sweep.
Yeah, not gonna happen. The Jets, they were able to do it the first time, but things have changed since the first time. There's a lot more going on in that organization since the first time they played this season. And also, I think the Bills were kind of relaxed a little bit going into that game. Maybe they were. I'm not that they were like just overlooking them, but I don't think that they really were coming in with the venom that they can come in against some of these other teams that they've been playing. And I don't see that happening again, especially not at home. I think the Bills are going to take care of business today. And then, it's going to be up to New York to try to figure out how they're going to continue to push for the playoffs. Because to be honest, there's a big matchup tonight with the Chargers and the Miami Dolphins, and LA, they're pushing hard to get into this conversation. And if the Jets drop this game and LA picks up a game, things are going to get real interesting.
The thing about this matchup, the Jets won this game at home by 3 points. It happened about last month, and funny that you said what you said about the Jets and how everything has transpired over the last month with the fallout of course, Zach Wilson and just how everything has transpired with that organization. Mike White has led the way. Is now leading the way with that organization. Lost last week to the Vikings, only by 5. I still think they are a very competitive team. And Mike White is actually, I think he's a good quarterback. I really do think he's a good quarterback. He's stepping into a shitty situation that I don't think it gives him the opportunity to really showcase his skill set. But don't being thrown into the fire, I feel as though he's able to handle the situation a lot better than if it was anybody else or than somebody that's a first or second year player coming in that situation. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's Joe Namath for the Jets, but I think he's somebody that can finish out this season without it being a disaster, right? You started off the season high, you had some dips, you started back up and going hot again, you kind of going dipping again. It's a long season, and the way that these Jets have been able to kind of steady the ship, you definitely have to see, and you definitely have to pay a little bit of respect to that organization from the players, the coaches in the organization for kind of keeping it together compared to what they've done in the past. If they can finish out the season strong, and I'm not even talking about going to the playoffs, I'm just talking about having a winning record, maybe miss the playoffs by like a game, half a game, whatever it is, they can use this to move forward and learn from this because everybody can't have a season like the Bengals, right? You gotta be able to build off of certain seasons like this one and say, look what we can do. Now, if we minimize some of these mistakes, we have guys that are rookies now than second year players, our third year players. You know the game a lot better. The game is slowing down for you. We can be a better Jet team. So
100%.
Let's see what happens with the Jets moving forward. Let's go ahead and get to the Browns and the Bengals. Of course, this is Deshaun Watson's second start. Of course, coming back from his suspension. The Bengals are doing what the Bengals have been doing the last couple of years, and that's rolling at the right time and getting everything firing off all cylinders. The Bengals come in this game on a 4-game winning streak. The last loss that they did have was against the Browns just 5 weeks ago in Cleveland, and they lost 32-13. I'm pretty sure the Bengals are eyeing for revenge and also to keep this second half momentum going as well. Even without Joe Mixon in the backfield, they've been able to still run the ball effectively with Samaje Perine. So with that being said, Ish, how do you look and how do you view this game playing out?
I think the Bengals gonna go in there and whoop their butt. Like, let's just call it what it is. Even with it being a divisional matchup, even with it being a situation where, I think Cleveland's going to get up to play this game. I expect an improvement from Deshaun Watson because let's just be honest, the performance, even coming off of rust and all that other nonsense, the performance against Houston was straight up garbage. But I expect an improvement, but I think they're going to get their butt kicked because Cincinnati just happens to be rolling right now. They are picking up steam. They're starting to really find their form at the right time, and Cleveland is a team that's going nowhere. So I just think that you're going to get in this game, even with Cleveland being hyped up, wanting to spoil a division rivals, run right now. Not going to happen.
I agree. Also, not just with that. I want to see the progression of Deshaun Watson being back, just on the field. It was ugly last week. The Browns took care of business, obviously, because it's an uglier team that they were playing against, and their defense for the Browns actually stepped up and contributed to that win. It was definitely not because of the play of Deshaun Watson in that offense. It was ugly, but. And I'm not saying at all that the Browns are going to go into Cincinnati and upset the Bengals at all, because that's not going to happen. But I need to see a better performance out of Deshaun Watson. If anybody watched that performance from Deshaun Watson on Sunday, you would probably think that he shouldn't be in the NFL. I'm just being honest, because there was a lot of balls that were thrown in the dirt. I'm just like, what in the hell is going on? But I believe in Deshaun Watson the same way a lot of delusional ass people believe in Baker Mayfield, and thinking that he can continue to keep doing his little glimpses of glory every 6 years, right? So if Baker Mayfield can come back from his bad performances, let Watson, a guy that hasn't played in 700 days, get a little bit more acclimated to the damn being back on the field again. So I've already stated that the rest of the season is for him just to get his feet back wet again. Y'all can use all the puns intended y'all want to on that one, and try to get mentally back established as being a football quarterback. I mean, as being a quarterback of a football team once again, right? Then next year we can judge this Deshaun Watson and this Browns team on how well they're playing or how crappy they are. That's just how I see the Browns team. The Bengals, they have an opportunity to be able to reel off some wins. I want to look into right quick the Bengals schedule, because you're at home against the Browns next week. You go to Tampa. Week after that, you go to New England. You have the Bills at home. You have the Ravens at home. Last 4 games of the season is not a punk. Even with that Buccaneers matchup, because the Buccaneers are trying to get in the playoffs too. So that's not going to be an easy game at all. And for the Bengals, they got to get this game to be up 9-4 record-wise, and being able to maybe lose 2 out of the last 4 games and still be okay with that regular season record to be able to make a playoff push. So Bengals take care of business. Like we talked about before the show even started, this is a weekend of good teams beating up on bad teams and taking care of business so you could be ready for the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Again, another game that we're going to get into very, very quickly, and we're going to go ahead and move on because there ain't too much to talk about. Texans versus Cowboys. Another game where this is obviously the Cowboys' game to lose. The Cowboys are a 17.5-point favorite. I'm not even going to hide who we're picking. It is pretty obvious who we are picking. The Texans will be missing Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, and now also Derek Stingley Jr. I mean, those 3 guys, except for Pierre, the other safety for the Texans, are pretty much your main pieces. And without them, it's going to be a lot of dinks and dunks, a lot of handoffs to Damian Pierce, and I don't expect the Texans to score no more than 13 points. They'll be lucky to score 10, if I'm being honest. If the Cowboys need to come in and take care of business,
being hella generous.
If the Cowboys are at home, you're right. No, you're right. I am being generous, but the Cowboys are at home. I know in the second half, if the Cowboys are by 30, they're gonna pull out the starters. They're gonna put this, and then the Texans gonna get some garbage time points. That's just how I see this game going. Just like when they played against the Dolphins a couple weeks ago. Like I don't see this team able to compete with the Cowboys. If the Texans pull off this upset, it'll be the upset of the year easily. The Texans are a plus 1,200. So that means if you go and put $100 down, you win 1,200 as the Texans win this game. But Morocco has a better chance of winning the World Cup right now than the Texans do winning.
Hey, no disrespect on Morocco.
No disrespect at all. No disrespect at all. I'm just saying that the Morocco started off opening eyes at plus 20,000, literally meaning if you put $100,000, you win $20,000 if Morocco wins the World Cup.
An African team gonna win the World Cup.
Hey, and if they do, shout out to an African team. But right now, they look like very, 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 very big.
African team is gonna win this World Cup. An African team is gonna win this World Cup.
Well, then do it. Ish, your rebuttal on this game?
I mean, you said it all. There's just too much wrong with the Texans right now. The Cowboys should not drop it. If the Cowboys drop this game, then I'm expecting more of the same in the playoffs from them. Because this is the kind of game where you just don't drop it.
If this is the game that the Cowboys drop, I want all Cowboy fans front and center, because y'all been talking hot shit all goddamn long, especially about how the Eagles ain't good as y'all and this, that, and third. These are not games supposed to drop. These are not games supposed to drop.
Not at all.
At all. So we'll leave it alone and we'll move on from there. Vikings versus Lions. Lions, a divisional matchup in NFC North. Ish, I'll let you take this one first.
I was gonna pick the Lions to win this game because I do expect upsets this week, and I think that of the matchups, this one is the most likely for me to be an upset, only because the Lions do score points, even though they don't really stop people. But in divisional games, we know that you know your opponent a little bit better. It's easier to game plan for your opponent when it's a divisional game. And so we often see tighter matchups in divisional games. So for me, when it comes to the Vikings playing the Lions, I'm expecting, hey, you got two good offenses going up against each other. The Lions put up points. Maybe they'll find a way to stick it around and get a last-minute touchdown. But then X picked the Lions. So then I decided, you know what? All that I just said, it still matters, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to pick the Vikings to win the game.
So what y'all hearing is that Ish looked at my picks and said, you know what? X is smart, and he might get to him, but I ain't gonna hop on that bandwagon with X.
No, and I made my pick before you made your pick, right? Because I do that every week. I make my picks, and then I get your picks, and I create the little flyer that we send out. But so I made my picks, and then I immediately saw your pick for that game, and I was like, going to the Vikings.
now, anybody that watches this show know good and dang well that I talk about my boy Captain Kirk. Okay, Captain Kirk for MVP, and I'm mainly saying that because I need my betting slip to be punched. I need that extra $5,000, Kirk. Okay, if you win MVP, I get an extra $5,000. I need it, son. So I'm gonna petition for Kirk all throughout the season. If MVP, I know he's out. Okay, I know it's pretty much Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. It's those two pretty much, but I need something to happen. Okay, and with that being said, most likely, if the Vikings were to lose to the Lions, his MVP candidacy will probably be diminished. And that's perfectly fine. But you also have to look at certain things with a grain of salt. And what I mean by that is it's divisional matchup, right? The Lions are a very gritty team that one week they can put up 40 points and contend with a team like the Eagles. And another week they can give up 40 points, right? They are kind of sporadic. You don't know what you're going to get. It's a box of chocolates, right? But overall, you know that the Lions are going to play hard. The Lions are going to play hard. The Lions are going to do what's necessary to keep the game intact, at least until the fourth quarter, right? I like to see the upset of the Lions for the Vikings because I feel like it will help the Vikings move forward in the postseason to not let something like this happen to them in the postseason. I'm talking about have a team beat, even though the Lions are a 2.5-point favorite. Because let's be real, a lot of people still don't believe in the Vikings. From Vegas to regular Joe Schmoes, even people in the NFL probably still don't believe in the Vikings. And that's understandable because at the end of the day, you Vikings have to go prove to everybody else. You Cowboys have to go prove to everybody. You, any other team that I can go out here and name, Buffalo Bills, y'all still have to go and prove to everybody else that y'all are worthy of us talking about y'all like we do about the Chiefs. And the Packers, even though the Packers haven't won shit in 12 years, it's certain teams that we talk about on an everyday basis because they have earned that right. The Vikings keep coming up short yet again, to where it's like, well, what do you expect? It's the Vikings. It's time for you guys, Kurt, and everybody on that team to change the narrative on how people view the Minnesota Vikings. All right, let me get to the comment section right quick because unfortunately we had a little delay, so some of our comments came in a little bit late. So shout out to my boy Fracture Wana. He says, early as usual, beautiful day for some football. We appreciate y'all for joining in. As always, he said, oh yeah, Baker, that guy now. Of course, we was talking about Baker playing for the Rams. Shout out to our boy Grid Ironic. I do love the name. He says, Mike White is good, but to me, he still has to prove he is durable. 1,000% agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Not mad at that comment at all.
100%.
I have no rebuttal to that because I agree. Fracture Wanda says trap game for the Cowboys. Could be.
No,
it's not.
Don't
it's
do
not.
that. No,
it's
Fracture,
not,
don't do that nonsense. No, and you don't shrug like that and go, maybe. No.
I'm doing on the Last Dance that the security guard Michael Jordan.
Yeah, nah.
You never know, right? I don't know.
It's not.
I doubt it. But again, before we move on, this is, I think, is a good opportunity for the Lions to add on to what they were been able to do all season long, which is play hard. You might not get the outcome that you want, but I promise you, a lot of those guys on that Lions squad, NFL guys around the league have been looking, and I'm pretty sure that they have earned a lot of respect from a lot of people around the league. I could be wrong, but Jamal Williams, Rahama Brown, even Jared Goff. I'm serious when it comes to Jared Goff being able to go to Detroit and not have his career die. Right? I think he still has an opportunity to maybe go elsewhere and go be a veteran quarterback for another team, and hopefully maybe lead them to the playoffs sometime. Right? I think Jared Goff has a couple more years of football left. All right. Let's move on to another divisional matchup, Jaguars versus the Titans. Titans come in as 3-point favorite. Let's be real, it's just really not too much to talk about. Just adding on to this weekend of what I've said, good teams beating on bad teams. This is a game for the Titans to take care of business and move on to next week. And, of course, the biggest news to come out of Nashville the last couple of days, and we talked about this on Tuesday's show, was the firing of General Manager John Robertson. The timing might not have been ideal. The timing might have seemed as though that it came obviously right after A.J. Brown's performance. But it was none of that. I read into the article about Amy Shrunk, the owner of the Tennessee Titans, and about how she already made up her decision weeks before she fired John Robertson, just due to, in her eyes, it's easy to beat up on the AFC South, right? But when you have the other giants in the AFC that you can slay in the regular season, but not in the postseason, and then also some of your draft picks are not materializing the way they should, and you're also trading away good pieces and not bringing in good pieces, that's just a recipe for you getting your ass up out of here. So again, it's easy for people to say, "Oh, well, the Titans didn't have a losing record under him." And, the Titans went to the playoffs.
Doesn't matter.
4 or 5 years under him. The Titans did this. Look, there are teams like the Denver Broncos. He could be dog trash for a year or two, and then won the Super Bowl in a year or two afterwards. Right? There are teams like the 49ers who sometimes go 5-11, 5-12. I'm talking about 5-11, obviously when they play 16 games, but that can have a bad record, and then a year or two later, then the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What? I don't understand the notion of people thinking, "Oh, well, look. I mean, we've been winning for 20 years, right? I mean, we have a good record. I mean, it's like the Steelers without the Super Bowl. It's like we won for 20 years, but we didn't win the Super Bowl. You barely got to the AFC Championship game. So what does it matter if you're winning, but you're not winning the ultimate prize? So my apologies, everybody, for holding on still to that. I just want to make sure that everybody that is in Titan Nation know that better days are ahead of us, okay? I don't know who the general manager is going to be. There's some rumblings maybe about Rick Smith, general manager from Houston. There's some rumblings maybe a Peyton Manning sighting, which I don't believe at all. There are maybe some rumblings of Vrabel being coach and general manager, which honestly I don't like at all. So we'll have to see how everything transpires. Y'all already know I will give y'all all of the facts and news once it comes down. You're on XtalknIsh, but for the most part, for me, it's not even about this game. Titans take care of business. Doug Peterson has been doing I'll be honest with you, a poor job with this Jaguars team this season. I expected better, but I expect Doug Peterson and the Jags to run it back next year. Hopefully they perform a little bit better. But if they don't, what's probably at all, Jacksonville does it once again and say, all right, Doug, we're going to go ahead and let you go. We'll get somebody else in here.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to get rid of Doug that quickly. He's supposed to be like a quarterback whisperer. They know that there's going to take some time in Jacksonville. There's a lot to be done there.
Now, sorry to cut you off, Ish. Now, the only time that he's able to whisper properly to the quarterbacks is when they're playing in London. You know that, right?
Yeah, but okay. I mean, either way, they're going to try to figure something out. I heard that they're putting in the petition to officially be called the London Jaguars, and just by putting London in front of Jaguars, they think they'll perform a lot better. So that position, I think, is going into the league soon. For this game, yeah, the Titans gonna win this game. It'll be close because the Jaguars like to keep these kind of games close for some reason. But Tennessee's gonna walk away with the victory. And, I'm just going to go ahead, throw my hat in the ring. I don't know if y'all's owner watching the show, but if she is, give me a call. I'm available to interview for the GM position. I've got a couple ideas already on how we will continue to take over the AFC South and catch some of these other teams. There's some sabotage and other things that go along with that plan. But just let me know. Give me a call. We can discuss it. And, if y'all don't see me on the show, moving forward, know that I brought my man X with me to Tennessee.
Ish's first move is he's going to trade Derrick Henry to the Kansas City Chiefs. Do not let him do it, Amy Trunk. Don't let him come in and try to trade Derrick Henry, because I know that's what Ish is going to do. Ish is going to be like, it's great. It's a great trade. We're going to trade him to the Chiefs. We're going to get like seven draft picks.
We're going to get younger. We're going to get younger. Okay. I'm going to trade him to the Chiefs, but I'm going to get younger at the position as well. Get a couple of draft picks that, if you listen to my draft plan, you'll understand. But yeah, he'll be going to the Chiefs. That would be my first move, along with a couple other pieces that I would move, towards Kansas City. It's just that Andy Reid and I have a good kind of relationship to where I think we understand each other. And he would be the best trade partner for us. But, I got other trades that I want to make and that I will bring in to help Malik Willis. Ryan Tannehill, my next move would be do something with Ryan Tannehill. I would convert his salary to a coaching salary and make him retire immediately so that we don't have to worry about that money anymore on our salary cap. But, that's things to talk about in my interview. Just like I said, y'all hear more of that later on.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. First thing first, Malik Willis will not be the quarterback, but we'll talk about that another time. All right.
Yeah, I'm opening up for some other people in free agency.
Let's talk about Andy Reid's former team, the Philadelphia Eagles. They open up as a 7-point road favorite against the Giants. Ish, I'll let you start off on this one.
Yeah, I almost picked the Giants. I really wanted to pick the Giants. Saquon being questionable kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies because I've seen this story before. If Saquon's limited or not able to play, then the whole load falls on Danny Dimes. And unfortunately, they don't have enough pieces around Danny Dimes for him to carry that load. If they had, a better wide receiving group, then maybe I would say, yeah, I think they could, find a way to win this game because they need this game more than Philly needs this game. But with Saquon being, obviously he's going to be less than 100%. I don't know. And the scary thing about this is they lose this game, they're level with Washington when it comes to record at 7-5-1. And then things get really, really scary.
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, there are some other teams right behind them that could mathematically still be in the playoff discussion, but realistically, at this point, the wild card is between Seattle, the Giants, and Washington. Like that's it. That's pretty much in the on the NFC side. I don't know about Detroit sitting at 5-7, Atlanta sitting at 5-8, Green Bay 5-8. Arizona 4-8. Like I don't think those teams really are going to go on a run to push these teams into the last couple of weeks. So it's more so about who of the three teams which two of the three teams between the Giants, the Commanders, and the Seahawks are able to win some of these games. And unfortunately for the Giants, I see them on the outside looking in when I really think about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, they started off the season hot. Shutting down non-believers, and embracing the haters. It seemed like in the first 8 weeks of the season, it was, Big Blue's back. Saquon is who he thought he was. Danny Dimes was getting a revival in his Giants career, and here comes Brian Dable able to save everything. Let's be honest. The Giants are ahead of schedule with Brian Dable. And this isn't even his players that he really wants for his system, and he's able to get to where he's at. The Giants have a lot of important decisions to make in the offseason, mainly with Daniel Jones. And it really comes down to on how they finish the season. Because they have an opportunity to go to the playoffs. And I feel as though if they go to the playoffs, maybe the Giants look at Danny Dimes as they look like with Eli when it comes to look. Maybe we don't need the most athletic. Maybe we don't need the fastest, the this, the that, but we need a guy, right? And as long as our team believes in our guy, that's all that matters. And that's what Eli was. Like Eli wasn't the greatest quarterback at that time, right? He was good, but he was a guy for the Giants. And Michael Strahan believed in him. Plexico Burrs believed in them. We might not have believed in Eli, but they did, and they were able to win 2 Super Bowls because of that, right? And twice against one of the greatest teams assembled in that era when it comes to the Patriots. So it all depends on how the Giants end the season, because right now they're 7-4. They're coming off of a tie and then lost the last 2 games. If it wasn't for beating the Texans November 13th, they would have lost 4 in a row with a tie behind it, right? So if they lose this game, I look at it as they are sputtering in the wrong direction and they're nosediving and looking for help on somebody to try to help them out. Now, Ish, it looked like you was laughing a little bit there.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. Man. I agree 100%.
I didn't know. I thought it was a little funny, so I'm just trying to figure
No.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to, of course, our favorite advertising of the day, Mr. Imperial King's Barbershop. Go ahead and ask for my uncle, Mr. Jason Williams, to go ahead and get chopped up and screwed up here at Imperial King's Barbershop. New location in 9218 FM 1960. Give them a call at 346-355-8255 so you can make sure you get faded in all the right ways, and also get ready for this upcoming work week. I know y'all got to go ahead and get chopped up, so don't be playing out here. And also, as well as always, if I was a betting man, we'll get to that in a second. We got to get to Don't Be Upset, and I have my Don't Be Upset picks. I have the Lions over the Vikings, and my friend Ish has the Ravens over the Steelers, and we'll talk about that very shortly in a second. And as well, going back to if I was a betting man, y'all know what we play on. Prize Picks promo code PR-JVA61PN. You put that promo code, you're able to get $25 for the free. As well, I have Mr. Jared Goff going over 22.5 pass completions. I've learned the hard way. I am not playing anymore with people that have a solid number when it comes to over-under. So if you have a 5 or a 4 or 3 catches or yardage or whatever it is, nope. We're doing halves over here because I'm the person that usually go, oh, yeah, he's going over. He has for 5 catches, and they catch 5 passes. Like, no, we're not doing that. Okay. Is it you gonna give me that dub, or you gonna hurt my heart and give me that L? One of the other. AJ Brown, I have him going over 8 catches, and as I just talked about how I'm not doing the over under, I do it right there with AJ Brown over 8 catches, over 8 reception targets. But the reason why I'm more confident in that one is because they're taking on the Giants, and he also will most likely be facing up against one of his former teammates, Mr. Adoree Jackson, with the Titans. And I could see him doing what he did to the Titans last week and making sure that they remember his name. And also, I have 2 defensive picks on here as line. I have the Cowboys.
Trying to mix it up to get a win.
I got to, because it's been hurting my heart the last couple weeks. The Cowboys defense under 3 sacks. Now, I know they're playing against the crappy Texans, and most likely Kyle Allen might get sacked once or twice. But the last 2 games Kyle Allen has played, he has been upright. The game plan for Kyle Allen is to get the ball out of his hand quick, give the ball to his running backs. Do not let him have to hold on the ball for longer than 3 seconds. So I have the under for 3 sacks right now. I can see the Cowboys getting a sack or 2 on him, but under 3. I also have the Panthers defense under 2 sacks. It's not that the Panthers are trash. I just think that Seattle's game plan, you're going to run the ball. Geno Smith, again, he's going to get the ball out of his hand quickly. I'm hoping that the Panthers don't get to him more than twice. So those are my picks for this weekend. Hopefully they come through. I need a little more money in my pocket. Y'all keep taking my money prize picks. Give me something back. God, give me something back. All right, let's go ahead and finish up with the slate of games. We have the Ravens and the Steelers-ish. This is, of course, your upset pick of the week. I'll let you take this one from here.
Yeah, I mean, for the Steelers, I haven't been convinced with them all season long. And for Baltimore, this is a very important game. Cincinnati's on a run.
Yeah, it is.
They are tied with them in record for the division. I would rather win the division than be a wild card if I'm Baltimore, and I think that's everybody, right?
Well, I mean, if you're being honest, when it comes to the Ravens, or at least the early part of the season, they were not performing well at the bank.
They weren't. They weren't.
So who knows? Maybe they might want to be on the road. Maybe they want to play or maybe they want to be like the underdog and play when the cards are against them and their backs against the wall, and maybe pull out an upset performance. Again,
I don't know about that one, but for Baltimore, I think this is a must-win. I think it's early still, and you can still recover from a loss, but I think it's a must-win, especially against a division rival, somebody you really don't like. It's a must-win, and for me, beyond it being a must-win, I really like Huntley. I like when he comes in. I think he plays well. I have for a long time been one of the people calling for some of these other teams that need a quarterback like a Houston or someone else to maybe this is a guy you give a chance. He's a discount kind of option if he does anything similar to what he's done in Baltimore, you come out a solid team. Maybe you're not a playoff team, but you're a solid team. The guy comes in and he plays hard and he performs every time. So that is really why I picked Baltimore, because I don't expect a drop-off. I actually expect an improvement. I think he's going to spread the ball around. They're going to get the ball to the wide receivers. They're going to have, the tight end involved. I think that they're going to move the ball. J.K. Dobbins supposed to be getting active soon. I think that, this is a Baltimore team that has something to prove, and I think they're going to flip that switch, especially with Huntley coming in and make a change here. The Steelers team is not a good Steelers team. They are decent, they're solid, but they're not a good Steelers team, and you need to beat these teams. Like we've been saying for the past couple of weeks, good teams have got to beat bad teams. They've got to beat these teams not in the playoffs, and honestly, if Baltimore loses this game, this is going to be the game they're going to look back on and say, man, we were in the right position. Had we just won that game, things would have been so different.
Now, this is one of those divisional matchups that we talk about all the time, the way the NFL has structured the schedule to have divisional teams play against one another towards the end of the season. The Ravens and Steelers play against each other another month later, January 1st, actually. They play on New Year's Day. So this is a game for the Ravens to where they could, both of these games, this game and then January 1st, and then they end the season with the Bengals, against the Bengals, to where it could upshoot them in the NFC North and help them get to a better position than what they are now, or it could completely knock them out of the playoffs. And how things can change real quickly, especially with Lamar Jackson being out. I love your take, Ish. I 1,000% agree on Brett Hundley. I think he's somebody that reminds me like a PJ Washington. PJ Walker. I apologize. PJ Walker. Even a Josh Johnson for the 49ers. I know he's somebody that literally had bounced around from team to team to team. But when it comes to bringing in a mobile veteran quarterback that can come in there and maybe not do everything the starter can do, but at least you can hand the ball off and say, okay, I'm not only limited to doing this. We can still open up the playbook for Brett Hundley. And if we're being honest, we can maybe still throw the ball down the field too, because this guy can throw the ball. So for the Ravens, the only issue for this game and moving on for the rest of the season is Lamar Jackson. This is the worst possible situation for Lamar Jackson, being hurt and having one or two things happen. Brett Hundley come out there and play well and lead the Ravens to the playoffs, or the Ravens playing so bad to where they know that they need you, to where that the Ravens organization will look and say, well, look, Lamar, if we give you all this money, how are we going to help the rest of the team perform? Because we still need help. We can't give you all the money, right? So it's unfortunate for Lamar. I don't want to get into the contract talk right now, but it's unfortunate that the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, and everybody is in the situation right now, because a lot of this stuff could have been avoided if the contract stuff would have been taken care of before the season started. So we'll leave it at that. Chiefs and the Broncos. Ish, you can start off with this one. I know this is y'all's little brothers right now, so welcome, take it away.
You know, I'm conflicted about this game. Okay. I'm not conflicted about the outcome. Chiefs better win this game. But I'm conflicted about the fact that the Broncos are so bad that we got moved out of primetime games.
Yes, that did happen.
I mean, I wanted to watch my team. I'm still watching them anyway, but I wanted to watch my team in prime time instead, because I definitely don't want to watch this Chargers game. I don't care about all that nonsense, but you know, I wanted to watch my team play. But the Broncos so dang bad that we got kicked out. We got booted out prime time because Russ want to ride. Let's ride, Russ.
I hope the Chiefs win like 54-7 too. Just so he could prove the NFL could prove this is the reason why we took him out of prime time.
Hey, I hope so, because if they don't, then I'm gonna be hella mad that they didn't lead this game in prime time. Because come on, Russ, what are you doing? Like I said, I'm conflicted. I'm mad, but I'm also. How's it going over there in Denver? Yeah, y'all riding? Y'all enjoying that ride?
Hey, Denver said, hey, we ain't worried about
oh my God,
we ain't worried about the Broncos no more. We riding the prime train now. We on college football now.
Oh, for real?
Colorado.
Oh, for real? They repping the Buffs now, huh?
The Buffs.
They repping the Buffs. They ain't worried about no Broncos anymore. They like the Broncos. Who team is that?
Like I said earlier, this is another organization where they can be bad for a year or two, and then next 2 years from now they won a Super Bowl.
I mean,
we've seen
I'm hoping the ride is they enjoying that ride right now, because I know all that talk before the season of how they were going to dethrone the Chiefs, and you know they're bringing in Russ to compete for a Super Bowl. Whew.
There are at least 2 broken wagon wheels on that ride,
man.
At least, maybe even 3. But it is looking raggedy and sounding rickety, and that ride needs to go ahead and be disabled for this season, because the ride is over with. And Russ, I'm gonna need you to think of something else, a better catchphrase from that season, because if you say "let's ride" one more time, your ass might get whooped by your own teammates.
By your own teammates, man.
So I'm gonna leave it at that. Obviously, the obvious choice for this week is the Chiefs. Not even going to try to entertain that Broncos mess. Not at all. All right, let's go ahead and move on.
Man, the Broncos might sneak up on them. They might
anyways,
sneak up on them.
anyway,
get mad.
Anyways, he gonna get. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it alone. Anyways, Buccaneers and 49ers. This is actually the second time, and I know every time we talk anything about Buccaneers, always have to be something about Tom Brady and his 23-year playing career and all that good stuff. But this is surprisingly only the second time that Tom Brady has played in San Francisco. And the first time he played, it was one of those, again, cool stories to tell. But the first time he played, apparently it rained in that game. Apparently, once he plays again in San Francisco, there will be potential chance of rain once again. I don't know why that's a story. I'm just letting y'all know. But overall, even though we both have the 49ers winning this game-ish, we obviously know that the Buccaneers are in desperation mode right now, and they are needing to separate themselves from the NFC South, from the Falcons, because if not, they can find a way to lose the division. I don't think it's going to happen. It's really their division to lose, but they keep playing with fire. They're going to get burnt, and they're going to end up losing that division. Ish.
Yeah, I mean, but what you're saying also relates to the 49ers. 49ers and the Seahawks are in a real close battle right now. So this is very important for San Francisco, just as much as it's important for Tom Brady and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I mean, Tampa Bay, let's be honest, they're just trying to be the best of the least, right? And that situation, I think, is going to work out for them because they do have Tom Brady as their quarterback. We are hearing that there are reports Desmond Ritter's taking over for Marcus Mariota in Atlanta. And that's very interesting to me because I think we have been saying it all season that we didn't expect that kind of change unless the Falcons were no longer in the playoff hunt. So are they conceding the playoff race to Tampa Bay? Or do they believe that Desmond Ridder has now prepared and is ready to make a playoff push? I don't really know. The time will tell for them. But I think if you're Tampa Bay and you're seeing that, you're kind of relaxed a little bit. You're thinking to yourself, hey, let's just go out, take care of our business, get the job done. But I expect San Francisco to make it real difficult on the old man today. I expect them to bring the pressure, show him multiple looks, try to get his offensive line confused so that he can yell at them again. And I'm interested to see how my man Mr. Irrelevant does. I think it's gonna be a purdy day in San Francisco.
It's gonna be purdy. Nice sunny skies. A little bit of rain. It's gonna be a little purdy. I got you. I will say when it comes to the Bucs and the rest of the schedule, the way it plays out next week, you take on the Bengals. We got to have the Cardinals and end the season with the Panthers and Falcons. And just going back to the Falcons, what you talked about when it comes to switching out quarterbacks, that was a little bit of a shocker to me. Look, I understand Mariota probably wasn't playing up to, a high level, but that's my point. I feel like he was playing well enough to have the Falcons where they're at. Now, unless y'all see, I'm talking about the Falcons as an organization, maybe y'all see Desmond Ridder performing better in practice than Mariota. Maybe you see a spark. Maybe, I don't know because I'm not that informed of what goes on in Falcons camps and things like that. But you stated that maybe the Buccaneers can relax, and I don't agree with that. The reason why I say that is because we all know is anytime a new quarterback or a new position player or new whatever comes in and do not have film on them, it's kind of hard to play. It's kind of hard to adjust to them in game because you kind of prepare for one thing, and then when they don't do what you were expecting, or they are doing what you're expecting, and they are kicking your ass when they're doing what you expected. It's kind of like, oh, okay, let's kind of change some things up a little bit. And then by the time you try to change things up, it might be too late for that game until you get them in that second game, right? We're gonna have to look for the Falcons and see what happens when they finish out the season and how they perform with Desmond Ridder. But I was kind of just confused on that move, and I'm not trying to make this a Falcons topic, but we'll talk more about them next week after their bye. But overall, again, like I said, the Buccaneers, they can drop this game and still win the division, but they don't want to lose to the Niners, lose to the Bengals, beat the Cardinals, beat the Panthers, beat the Falcons, and think that, oh, we're ready for the playoffs. You're not. You're a first-round exit. That's what y'all are right now. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's go ahead and move forward to the Panthers and the Seahawks. And as you can see, this is one of those games where the East Coast team has to go across the seas and play on the West Coast. So with that being said, Ish, is this another one of those matchups where the East Coast is just not good enough to compete with the West Coast?
Nah, I think it's one of those situations where a bad team is going to Seattle and it's just going to make that whole situation worse. Because let's just be honest, Carolina, they just don't know what's going on over there. Okay, they're just ready for next season. They're trying to figure out who's going to be on the roster, who's not going to be on the roster, what they're going to move forward with. Seattle's going to win the game. That's all I got to say about it. Seattle's going to win the game.
Yeah, it's a lot going on in Carolina right now. I mean, from the switching of the quarterbacks, from releasing Baker Mayfield to Baker doing what he did on Monday night or was it Sunday night, whatever one of those nights, and to again let go of Matt Rule, and then Steve Wilkes come in. He kind of has steadied the ship, but we all know is that he's not going to be the head coach moving forward. It's like you said, it's a lot of these guys out here playing for jobs. Deontay Foreman, he's trying to still revive his career and stuff. PJ Walker, let's hope maybe he can still get another shot. We'll see what happens with DJ Moore. Does he stay there? Do they find a way to trade him? I mean, it is a lot of questions in that organization. Do they completely start over, or do they, do those guys that are quote unquote franchise guys, do they even want to stay there to be franchise guys? Because right now with the Panthers, they don't look like a sustainable organization that people can trust. All right. I'm talking about guys that are Hall of Fame guys. I'm talking about guys like Steve Smith, who's been critical of this organization and who will say, this is the reason why I told you not to get this guy. I told you, this guy is like this, and they don't listen to guys like that. So I don't know. I don't know if a whole new ownership group needs to come in to change everything when it comes to the mindset of the Panthers as an organization, but I just don't like where it's going. Mainly the reason why I say this is because this is an expansion team that started off actually very well. I mean, this is a team that went to an NFC Conference Championship game within 4 years of their existence, went to a Super Bowl within 10 years of their existence, been to 2 Super Bowls now as an expansion team in their existence. So you can't tell me that this team is like it's a trash organization or a trash team. No, this is not the Texans, okay? This is an organization that actually makes good draft decisions, makes good moves, hires good coaches, right? But they just haven't been able to get it together the last couple of years. For whatever reason, I don't know. But they need to figure it out because the NFC South is wide open-ish, right? The next couple of years or even next year is wide open. So we'll see what happens with them. I don't really have too much to say about this game. Another game that, again, the better team, Seahawks, should win this game, and we'll go from there. We'll wrap it up with Sunday Night Football and also Monday Night Football to talk about Sunday Night Football. This is obviously the game that Ish talking about. I got flex. Dolphins, Chargers. Dolphins come in here as a road 3-point favorite. This is another team that's been very disappointing to me, the LA Chargers. I was hoping this would be the breakout season for Herbert and the Chargers and Brandon Staley, and most likely going to be a breakout year for Brandon Staley to get his ass sent home and not be head coach anymore. Even though they are 500, they shouldn't be 500. They should be 8 wins, 9 wins easily. But I just feel as though the Chargers have led everyone down yet again, and the Chargers as an organization needs to get a coach in there to know what the hell they are doing before they waste Justin Herbert. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Ish.
Yeah. I expected the Dolphins to bounce back on this one this week and beat a Chargers team that is clinging clinging to their playoff hopes right now. Because honestly speaking, the Chargers and the New England Patriots are the only other two teams that are, I would say, really, really pushing. Cleveland and Pittsburgh not too far out, but if we're being honest with what I think it's 5 games, 5 weeks left, if you include this week today, I think it comes down between the Jets, the Patriots, and the Chargers. And I think the Chargers, they lose a little momentum here. Unfortunately, they got to play Miami after they got beat down. And it doesn't really get better because they got Tennessee next week. They got Indianapolis on the road, which we all know that Indy is not. They're not good, but they can find a way to win these games. The Baker Mayfield Rams following that, and then on the road to the Oregon Trail stop, Denver.
Rickety.
Where their wagon has broken down or they've died of sedentary or whatever other ill fortunes happened on the trail. So, I think for the Chargers, this one, if you lose this one and you lose next week, you're probably out of the hunt. But I just don't know that they can beat this Miami team coming off, because Miami's coming off that loss, and I think they're going to come in really hungry and wanting to set things right. I'm trying to talk my way into maybe thinking the Chargers might have might shock us, but yeah.
I mean, the only way that the Chargers shock us is if literally they are full go on all cylinders on offensive side of the ball and defensive side of the ball, and we haven't seen it all season long.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate because this team on both sides of the ball, on paper, is very good. I mean, it looks great, right? It was like, damn, they can compete with anybody, but it has not manifested the way that it probably should have this season. All right, let's finish it up today with Monday Night Football, Patriots versus Cardinals. Definitely not a sexy matchup, but it's a matchup, right? Ish, I actually did not get your pick for this one, so my apologies. So you can go ahead and tell the folks here live who you're picking.
Well, I'm picking the Patriots. I already know it's the second half of the season.
I don't know.
No, I can't pick Arizona in the second half of the season. Everybody knows what happens in the second half of the season with Arizona. They lose. Cliff doesn't know. Cliff go on vacation in the second half of the season, and in reality, he sends a body double to go on the sideline and pretend to coach for him. And
so he do the Akon thing where Akon brother be out here performing.
Yeah. That's definitely someone else that's not Cliff Kingsbury on the sideline, because that's the only explanation I have for how bad they play in the second half of the season. I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect from Arizona, man. I think New England gonna win. New England's in the playoff hunt. Arizona mathematically in the playoff hunt, but we know that they're just not there right now.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question though about Kyler Murray?
Yeah, he trying to get Cliff Kingsbury fired.
Besides that, about a week ago, Bobby Schmurder, pun intended, he talked about on Twitter Patrick Peterson. Well, he called out Patrick Peterson and saying that it's weird for you to go on your podcast and talk about me when you could have just texted me.
Yeah, you could have just hit me up. Yeah, kept it 100.
Right. At the end of the day, Kyler, are you mad about what he said? Or are you mad about it being true? Because this is something that this is not the first time I've heard this about Kyler Murray. This is somebody that has been catered to since Allen High School here in outside of Dallas, Texas, from A&M and then transferring to Oklahoma. And we saw how he acted or was able to get his way with this new contract. They had to put a clause in his contract just to be able to watch film. They went ahead and took it out after all the hoopla. But right now, you're 4-8. You're 4-8. And you're not even the Cardinals are a shell of themselves. And we know, look, Hopkins was out the first 6 weeks of the season. I got that. But you, Kyler Murray, you got a big ass contract to where you're supposed to uplift teammates around you. You're supposed to make other teammates better than you. You have a guy like Zach Ertz. Look, I understand he's on the back end of his career, but that's still Zach Ertz. AJ Green is the only person that I'll say don't even worry about the name on his back jersey because he's not who he was.
Yeah,
okay,
he's not who he
so
was.
Let's go ahead and get him up out of there. But for the most part, you got Hollywood Brown. I say you got Hollywood Brown there. You have plenty of pieces there, and especially on the defense side of the ball too. You have plenty of pieces to be a good team. It's just the Cardinals are just not a good team, and I think it's mainly due to the leadership or lack of leadership there on the quarterback position and the head coach. That's really what it comes down to. So again, Cliff can enjoy his money. Kyler can enjoy his money. He can enjoy his after he gets done playing football. He can enjoy playing video games. At the end of what it really comes down to more than anything, I'm saying here on XtalknIsh before we get up out here, it is short man syndrome for Kyler Murray. I said what I said. Kyler Murray is always worried about somebody talking about his height and always questioning him about his height and can he play in his league and can he do this and that. It is annoying as hell. I bet I'm not sure, and I get annoyed for him for people always talking about his height, right? So for Kyler Murray to have to deal with all this bullshit on a week-to-week basis, it's getting to him. I see it myself. It's getting to him. And they're going to be 4-9 after Monday, and he's not going anywhere. We talked about how Cliff most likely is going to get fired. So what's next? What coach do you bring in to tell Kyler, shut your ass up. You're not going to get your way. You listen to me and do it this way. Who is going to do that? Maybe a Sean Payton. Maybe a coach that just got fired recently that can come out, which I don't think so. But do you go and get a defensive coach, right? We already did the offensive coach now. Do we go get a defensive coach to make sure that defense is straight and let Kyler do what the hell he want to do on offense, right? Or give an offensive coordinator the opportunity to do what the hell they want to do with Kyler, right? I'm trying to figure the situation out, Ish. So maybe you can help me out. Greg says, if y'all were the GM of the Cardinals, how would y'all handle the Kyler situation? I'll let Ish go first. I'll say what I need to say, and then we'll go ahead and wrap everything up and get you guys up out of here for this morning. Ish.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it's one of the Ryan Tannehill situation. While he's better than Ryan Tannehill, it's the Ryan Tannehill situation all over again.
He's better than him. Wins the lawsuit.
Bro, that contract is not going to allow them to do anything unless they're going to find a trade partner that's going to give them what they want for him, which I doubt.
Restructure
the contract, which again, because I mean the cap hit next year is, while that's only $16 million. Well, then crap, you hit 2024, you hit $51 million cap hit, $45 million cap hit the next year, 55 the next year, and 43 the following year.
You're literally in the middle of shit between a rock and a hard place.
You can't. There's no way you really get rid of this contract in a trade or even letting him go, because the dead cap that you lose trying to let him go is even worse. So, I mean, I just think from my standpoint, they're stuck with him. They've committed to him. It's all about finding a coach that's going to help him and can work with him and put him in the situations to succeed. That was supposed to be Cliff. But let's be honest, there was a ceiling for Cliff that everybody knew even back when he was hired. It wasn't like he was lighting the world afire at Texas Tech. He was doing a good job, but they weren't even a playoff contending team. So you bring him to the NFL, surely you know there is a ceiling for him there. I don't know who they go out and get, but they got to go out and get somebody that's going to support Kyler, put him in the right situations, and then they got to continue to build around him. That's all you can do.
And I will, of course, I obviously answer this question and then wrap it up with the statement I'm going to make. But for me, like Ish said, I mean, and I've already stated, you got to find a coach that's compatible enough for him, because unfortunately, like Ish is saying, the Cardinals are wrapped up with Kyler. So it's either going to be, Kyler's going to stay, the coach is going to leave. Like, that's just what it comes down to until that contract is over with for Kyler. Or if it's a 5-year deal, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's a 5 or 6 year deal. But if they come to within 4 years of that deal, then they can probably, structure something out to where they say, all right, well, we'll go ahead and release you. We'll pay you this money. We'll buy you out, and you can go ahead and go on somewhere else. The unfortunate thing again with this situation is that, and Ish, you know it, I know it. Greg, who's asking this question, knows that the person that you were in college you're not the same person that you are at 25. You're not the same person that you are at 30 years old, right? They had a special little relationship when they were together at Oklahoma. And I'm sorry, Texas Tech, my apologies. But guess what? It's not what it is anymore, right? So Kyler isn't who he is, and Cliff isn't who he is, to where maybe the relationship is just is friction, to where maybe 10, 15 years from now they look back on it and say, man, like why were we not able to make this work, right? I think that's what it's looking like to me. These are two guys that are, and whatever Kyler's going through, he's going through his stuff, and Cliff, he was always a mediocre coach getting a position job that you never earned or deserved in the first place. So enjoy your millions of dollars. I ain't mad at you. I wish I can go be mediocre and go coach an NFL team and go get bought out for $18 million. Like Coach O from LSU said, show me the door and tell me what time to get up out of here. Because you let me know you buying me out for $18 million. You ain't get, here goes my key card. Here goes my Microsoft 365 email address for the Cardinals. Y'all can have all this. I don't want this no more. But overall, I will, to finish up with this though, I want all NFL teams to be competitive. It makes football as a whole better, because when you have the hype that comes along with any NFL team and it doesn't live up to the hype, it's disheartening. It's boring. It's trash. It doesn't make you want to watch the sport or that team moving forward. That's my opinion. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how everything plays out. And of course, it is week 14. We will see y'all once again on Tuesday for week 14 recap. We appreciate y'all as always for joining XtalknIsh. Is there anything you want to say to the people before we get up out of here?
No.
Alrighty then. We will see y'all on Tuesday. XtalknIsh. Thank y'all as always for tuning in.